Hello, gorgeous Virgo family, and welcome to January 2021. Just saying that feels really powerful. Even though this year is going to continue some of our journeying into a new energetic phase, which requires, some more kindness to ourselves, some softness. There's also some really beautiful new pieces of energy to work with, and it's so interesting for Virgo. Okay, so Virgo energy, I don't want to get too overcomplicated here with what's going on, but Virgo energy is associated with the sixth house. You're the sixth sign, and the sixth house is all about deep ritual, right? The ritual of coming to this very present moment. You're a Mercury ruled sign. So coming to this present moment and how you show up to that and how you feel whole and complete within those details, within the devotion and the showing up. And especially if you're a Virgo rising, the energy has just moved into Aquarius big time with Jupiter and Saturn. And in fact, your ruling planet is going to go into pre-shadow phase in Aquarius this month. And on the 30th of the month, go into retrograde. The sun will be moving into Aquarius this month. So there's a lot of energy moving into the sixth sign from you, which puts it in the sixth house. So what's amplifying here for Virgos is your sixth house connection to your body, to your feeling of wholeness, and your feeling of wholeness through the details. So there's a huge amplification of how you get things done in the world is to come back to some of your key core talents, gifts, ways, modalities of moving through the world. In past conversations we've had over the years, there have been times when I've been like, Virgo, gotta let go of the to-do list. You gotta let go of some of these details and think big. And there are different seasons in life, right? Where sometimes we are learning how to expand past what we think of as just our container. And there are seasons in life where we are asked to actually use gifts and skills that we naturally, innately have to work with and to use them to build something beautiful. So this month, first of all, is just an important month for getting a lay of the land. Getting used to Aquarius energy is a project all on its own. It's really different to work with compared to Capricorn energy, that is for sure. We were doing so much grounding work in 2020, and we were doing so much work with what our foundation and the roots of the mountains underneath us. To move into Aquarius energy, which is like outer space energy, it's huge, it's vast, it's one of the last signs, right? So the 11th and the 12th signs, Aquarius and Pisces, just take us to this very expansive place. It's quite the change in scenery. And so a big part of this month is just getting our sea legs in this new environment. But there's also some beautiful things happening. So yes, we will be starting to head into our first Mercury retrograde of 2021 this month, which in an air sign will cause a little bit more static in communication. But we also have things like Mars, after 6 months of being in Aries, is moving into Taurus, a fellow earth sign for you. Ninth house energy, King of Pentacles popped out. Ninth house energy really lit up. Uranus also will be going direct in Taurus this month. A lot of planets are going to be in direct motion in January. Outer planets are out of their retrograde phases. We will have the Mercury retrograde, but there's a lot of forward-focused energy moving here in January. We're getting our sea legs, we're getting associated with who we are now and how we are building into this new year. And it is going to take all of January to get a real sense of that. We have Venus and a new moon in Capricorn, and of course the sun moving through Capricorn most of the month. This is great for Virgo. This is going to be lighting up your heart. And I don't know, there's just something about having a lot of heart activation energy, and then energy that's all about finding wholeness in the details, finding wholeness in the ritual and the devotion, that to me just is yes, this is good stuff. This is the kind of stuff, strength, that just builds into the most meaningful shifts in life, right? It's something that a lot of times in our culture, to grind, to push hard, to have always be after your empire, after your legacy is often touted as like the road to happiness, right? And when it gets lit up that it's this other smaller, detailed, quiet, cumulative joy, I'm always into it. I'm like, yes, this is going to be good. And I'm excited for Virgos, getting to use that time to, you can order your house a little bit. You can, come up with like what it is you really want to create, refine that list of what you really want to create. You can just spend some time nourishing into your body and understanding it now. There's just so many beautiful things you can do with it. I'm pulling 3 cards from my classic deck today for you, and then 1 card from my Cosmic Tarot as our overarching message. Page of Pentacles. Wow, I love this for Virgo. This is such beautiful energy. It's so interesting right now. Mutable signs are not getting the heaviest hitting of the energy, other than the eclipses and the nodes of the moon, which, to be fair, yes, that is powerful. But outer planets are in a lot of fixed energy now, and there's a focus on other signs. So there's a little bit of easing up around some of the harsher lessons that have been coming up, for the mutable signs. And I really love that. And it's really fun to sit with mutable energy right now, because there is a softness in January as you kind of get used to this new year. And as you find your nourishing path forward. And I just think that's so important, that we really are tending to our light inside. And having those conversations with your rituals, your routines, your day-to-day is so magical and powerful. I just find it to be the deepest magic. We're here in these physical bodies, and we're here in this experience of reality that is so much about the now moment and like being present in the physical. And what better way to access that than through the little details of our day? It's a really direct access point to a feeling of grounded knowing. Okay, I shuffled away, and 5 of Swords, which in this deck is quite the visual, right? It's very ritualistic. It's very witchy, which I know a lot of you Virgos out there are pretty magical beings with a little. Not all of you, but with a witchy vibe. So that there's some kind of ritual going on in this particular deck. So we'll get to the overarching message there in just a moment. But let's talk about these other 3 cards. They're very nourishing cards. Let's just say that, right? King of Pentacles. I don't know if you've got like a Taurus energy around you, or there's some really, really positive, good earth energy this month. That's the thing. Like, earth signs, y'all, have some really big support. You've got Mars in Taurus, Uranus direct in Taurus, Venus in Capricorn, the sun moving through Capricorn, a new moon in Capricorn. The energy is very flowing for earth signs. And it does bring about like some ease when it comes to how you're grounding and how you're building your life. King of Pentacles to me too, though, long-term investment, baby. Like, this is when you put in that money into that long-term investment, knowing it's going to yield, like 20 years from now. It doesn't have to be 20 years, but here's the thing with January. It's really important in general how we are investing our energy in January, how we are investing our vision in January. And Virgo especially, put your money, put your energy, not your money, but like your, the equivalent of that into an account you want to see blossom. And be really cognizant of where you're putting your energy. Because here's the thing with January. We're in this new energetic phase, but we're still getting our sea legs. We're still tempering into this time. We still have remnants of stress and trauma from last year. And they're talking. They're making the rounds. There's still things we're working out. In many ways, 2021 is another bridge year. This bridge year, it's like we've made it over the hump of the bridge, and now we're going toward the land. We're going toward like firm grounding where we can then explore and play and do some things. So we're still in bridge territory, but so that's why it really matters that we're focused on that land that we're headed to on the bridge. because if we get caught up, we'll get like some vertigo. We can get some vertigo and get really disoriented and feel like we're going to fall off the bridge. So we have to come back to like remembering. So it's really important to invest and understand that anything you're doing in January, even things that you're like, well, this isn't, I'm not even going to see anything to do with this until October. That's fine. That's great. Go for it. Same thing with strength, actually, because strength is such a grace, a card full of grace. A card full of coming back to understanding we don't have to roar and burn our way through the world in order to be of value or in order to see the results that we are longing for, right? Like strength acknowledges like we can burn the candle at both ends. We can just unleash ourselves on the world and demand that things get done as fast as possible and that we expand and like things are done by March. But strength also acknowledges that probably if we try and do it that way, we're not going to fully feel actually fully empowered, fully brave, fully courageous, or fully in our strength. We actually gain strength and we actually highlight our strength when we are okay with timing, when we are a little softer, we're not pushing so hard. So Virgo, you all I know want to like get in there and make things happen. Let's do it. Let's try it. Let's make it happen. And there is a message here that's tying back a little bit more to like fixed sign energy and earthy energy, which is saying, take your time. Don't worry. Don't get ahead of yourself right now. It's not necessary in January. You really don't have to go constructing every plot line. You don't have to tackle every problem in January. You're just going to want to come back to the strength that comes from feeling a center, knowing that every time you put that penny in the piggy bank, energetically, right? Maybe practically too. Every time you put a penny in that bank, something's happened, something's connected, and those pennies add up. Now, Page of Pentacles is here as a little messenger of joy and opportunity. So I do think the energy in general is really nourishing for you this month. It's very supportive of you, just kind of finding a rhythm in this energy, having a conversation with your physical, having a conversation with your routines, getting everything just combing through the details, taking your time. But this Page of Pentacles speaks to doors opening, things happening, things shifting, things moving, not just being stuck. There's being information and opportunities that are clicking into place. So if there have been things over the last few months that have felt a little bit unanswered, lurking as like kind of this thing that maybe you've even gotten really good at acknowledging, there's nothing I can do about it, so I'm just going to put this over here till I can know more. You may have gotten really good at that, but it's still there and you're still like, I wonder what's going to happen with that. The Page of Pentacles to me speaks to there being something that comes together so so you have that information so that you can continue to move forward and craft. And Page of Pentacles often brings quite positive news that you can work with, that you can build with, that you can take with you in a real way forward. So I'm just loving this because all three of these cards are like that soft, slow medicine, that combing through the details, that really getting into the ritual of, I think, this is midwinter in the Northern Hemisphere. It's the middle of summer in the Southern. In the heart of the two polar opposite seasons, right? These are like the core seasons. It's such a great time of reflection and sifting through. So let's talk about this Five of Swords, because I know y'all are like, what is going on, Sarah? What is going on with this? Five of Swords has to do with self-trust and trusting others, right? In this card, obviously, there's more of like a ritual sacrifice going on. And this character may or may not have been privy to it or know what was happening. But here's the thing with it. Like I said, There's still a lot of noise in the air in January. It's not like we just wake up in 2021 and we are just, oh, ta-da. There's still all this gobbledygook happening. There's a lot of instability still. There's a lot of uncertainty still. We are still modulating into a new cycle. There's just a lot to work through. And it can get really confusing. It can get really topsy-turvy and like, where is the ground beneath me, and vertigo. And sometimes we can lose trust in ourselves and our process. Like if you're, this slow medicine that I'm seeing here in the other cards, maybe you're thinking, am I allowed to do that? Maybe I'm missing a step. Maybe I'm not allowed to do that. The other thing here is that's important. If Five of Swords is showing up, which is, it has been showing up a little bit in the monthly readings in general. It's okay to not feel like you have to bring everybody under the fold of your wing and feel like you have to trust everybody and like you have to assume that everybody's going to be good for you, or that you have to be like almost martyring yourself out to connections. If you feel that a connection is really draining you, stressing you out, making you feel icky whenever you talk to that person or email that person, even, honestly, this has been a big one, unfollowing or muting people that maybe just are saying, things that are upsetting or hurtful. Because the internet is not where we're going to have the meaningful conversations, even though I'm trying to have a meaningful conversation here. You know what I mean? It's like, find ways to come back to trust in self when it comes to communication and when it comes to yourself, because Five of Swords, yes, it can speak to like people that you don't trust, but I think what it really comes back to is that we sometimes feel like we have to stretch ourselves thin. We sometimes feel like we have to play all these roles and have all these conversations and be in certain dynamics that don't feel good, and then we lose our self-trust, and then we get really confused about what's true for like what we need to do in our day, for just the simplest things like what we need to eat or when we need to go to sleep, or if we should do this or not do this. And so just, it's a reminder, if Five of Swords is coming in here, it's a reminder that there may be this frequency kind of in the air sometimes. It's very confusing, but you got to come back to the nourishment, right? We got to come back to the nourishment, to the longer game, just kind of come back to this place. If you get anxious or nervous during the month of January, don't take that as a sign that things are totally off. Just come back here time and again, and you may find that you are working through that. I think Five of Swords energy can actually be very helpful because it can show us where we are, plugging ourselves into things that hurt us. And when we don't need to, we really don't have to keep going through things that are super painful, right? Like sometimes they're just simple things that we feel like we have to keep doing that just aren't serving us. So it can be a really useful time to just kind of pay attention to that, take stock of that. We've all changed a lot and we've all had to go through a lot this year. And I think in that getting to know who we are now, it's sometimes important to just take a moment to assess. So a lot of assessment going on for Virgos. I have a New Year blessing for you. So let's say it together. Well, I'll say it and hopefully you take it with you and enjoy. Here we go. May all the small, beautiful moments and creations unlock doors and pathways all around you. May you trust that your ability to feel whole can lead to vibrant opportunities. May this year be full of vitality, energy, wellness, and curiosity. That's so nice. That feeling whole in yourself really makes it a lot easier, right, to denote what you need to say yes to and what you need to say no to. So I hope you have a beautiful January. I will be offering up some cozy fireside chats and some discussion points all the way through January. If you're looking for a little extra guidance and a little extra cozy time with me, so I'd love to see you over on Patreon. You can also find me on my website or on Instagram, so I'll leave all of those links below. You can also find PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry on her Etsy shop. I will leave her link below as well. I hope you are all having such a beautiful beginning to the new year. I love you, and I will talk to you very soon.